Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Imani Dillard Show. Um, this is my 8 o'clock show, and I will have another guest, Garfield Bryant, the founder of Shy. Yep, he will be on here at 8 p.m. I decided to come on here early, but the show starts at 8 p.m. But I just wanted to come on here so you guys can see my face. Yep, I hope everybody had a good weekend. Yep, for everybody. I hope everybody had a good weekend. It's not winter, but still dress warm. Make sure you dress warm. He will be on here at 8 p.m. All week is going to be nice. Nice weather. Like I said, make sure y'all dress warm. Winter is not here yet. I believe around April and May it's going to get hot. I will start the show in a few minutes, 8 p.m. So I will be back at 8 p.m. I just want you guys to see my face, and I appreciate you guys' support. Thank you for your support. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I will be back at 8 p.m. Hey, how you doing?
Hey, what's good in the hood? How you doing?
Good, good, good. Let me turn my volume up. All
Can
right.
you hear me okay and see me okay?
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yep. How you been? Okay, okay. So you got your drink on.
A little wine. I was
Huh?
winding down. I had done all my chores for the day, and I'm back in the house, so I always give me a little glass of wine.
Hey, there's nothing wrong with that. It's okay. It's okay
How
to
was
have
your
a
day?
nice drink. Good,
Good.
good. I had a good day. It's just I can't believe it's the weekend already.
No, we got one more day of the
Ready
week.
for the
Then,
summertime.
well, look, I'm in Houston, and it's
Oh,
already
bring me
80.
some of that warm weather. I'm
It
from
was
Lima,
87. It
Ohio.
was 87 today. I'm like, damn.
Oh, don't say that to me.
I grew up in Boston. You know what I mean? Like most of my life, and I'm that, like we have seasons. I'm used to feeling seasons, man. Like.
Yeah.
But
Yep,
Houston will be in
yep.
wintertime for 2 days and then to jump back up to 90 again. So
Wow. How long you been living in Houston?
for like 5 years, 4 years, something
Five.
like that.
Okay. Okay. So you
5 years.
like it out there?
Yeah, it's cool. I mean, I got me a little crib, me and wifey just chilling in Richmond. She's from here. So
Okay.
it's laid back. I live in a nice little quiet neighborhood. It's peace. You know what I
Okay.
mean?
That's the best part. You live in a nice, peaceful
Yeah. I live
neighborhood.
outside of like I don't live like in you like I live like well, I was in Sugar Land, now I live in Richmond, which is on the outside of it or whatever.
Okay. Okay.
It's nice out here,
Uh,
it's just real peace, nothing
okay.
happen, you
Well,
know.
I'm very honored to have you on the Imani Dilla Show and live on my YouTube podcast channel. This is Restream. That Restream is connected to my YouTube podcast channel, so
Okay,
everybody's watching us on YouTube
cool.
and Facebook. So yeah,
All right.
you
Well,
can do
thanks
a
for
lot
having
on
me.
there,
I
huh?
appreciate it.
Oh,
Thanks for having
oh
me.
yeah, you guys put R&B on the map. Yeah, shy.
Appreciate it. Appreciate it.
Yeah. So today I want to talk about your hometown. How was it growing up in? I remember you,
Yeah, I'm a
Nashville,
mutt. I'm a
Tennessee.
mutt. Yeah, I'll give you my whole little trajectory, my whole little
Okay, how was
like
it?
this.
Yeah, your
So I tell you,
hometown, Nashville, Tennessee, Boston, Massachusetts, and
well,
also
Knoxville was in there too. Knoxville's in there. Montgomery's in there.
Knoxville, Tennessee. Okay, Tennessee.
So
We can talk about
yeah,
that, and
I'll
then the
give you a little.
history of Shy. Yeah.
I'll give
So
you
go
my whole
ahead.
progression. My whole progression.
Take
So
your time.
are you ready now? Are
Yeah,
you
take
ready?
your
Okay.
time.
So
Take
in
your time.
19, this is gonna be like a history lesson. So in 1969, yep, I'm 55, right? So in 1969,
Well, you
I
don't
was
look like it.
oh, thank you. I was born in Meharry Hospital, Davidson County, Nashville, Tennessee. And
Okay.
my mom, she was there, pops. And so I stayed there briefly. My mom and dad were there. They had moved there from Knoxville for a second, and I was born there October 12th. And then they moved back to Knoxville where my dad's mom lived and my mom's mom still lived, which are my grandmothers. And I was a little shorty in Raccoon Village, kind of. First, I was in Kingston Apartments off Kingston Pike, and then I moved to Raccoon Village, this little subdivision, and that place had a tremendous impact on me, for all my family and all my people. My grandmother always had like 16, 15 foster children at any given moment. And so my dad's house was right up the hill from my grandmother. So I literally was at my grandmother's all the time in Knoxville. And I was like part of the foster family. Like I was one of them too. In my mind, you couldn't tell me I wasn't. I mean, I knew that was my grandma, but I considered all the foster children my real brothers and sisters. And so, like Christy and Lisa and Allison and Jackie, Jean Tracy, like the Melinda, Joyce, Hugh, Gary Mills, my homie, like I mean, just Tim, it just goes down to Maxwell, all these different people that came through there, all my brothers and sisters and stuff like that. And so the village, it was like a real village. Now knowing what I know about the village, raising the children, that place really was like that. Like all the families on that whole block, the McPhersons, Brother and Boo, Joyce. I mean, Marty up the hill, Miss McGee, the candy lady, Miss Kemp, the other candy lady. Like it was like, oh my
Candy
God.
lady. Okay.
Oh, yeah, candy ladies in the neighborhood. So this is like when I was from ages like I was like 6 years old, from like 4 to 5 and 6. And then when I moved away, but I would always come back in the summer. But when I moved away, my parents moved to Montgomery, Alabama. when I was about 6, and then that's when I entered first grade at the Early Childhood Center on Alabama State's campus. And I was a little kid on campus that at all the football games, college football games, basketball games, you would see me on the sidelines, or that kid that was shooting around on the basketball court during halftime. You wonder why that little kid on the court, how you get there? That would be me.
Mm-hmm.
I knew all the families knew me, all the people in the administration knew me, and I kind of had it like that. Me and a couple of my other Lower Melvin, Wade, different people, Richie Thomas, we kind of had it like that. And so I grew up literally on the campus at Alabama State. I lived right across the street
Oh,
on
Alabama
Carter Hill
State.
Road on Terrace Avenue. But I lived all around. I lived in Fieldcrest. I went to Vaughn Road Elementary, went to St. John's for my junior high school years. And then I went to Cloverdale, which is now shut down. And I was about to go to JD, Jeff Davis, but my dad and mom, they got a divorce when I was 9. And so I was going back and forth
Mm.
with them. But I was kind of primarily staying with my mom in Montgomery. And then finally, when I came of age, I think I got a bad report card one time. And my mom was like, yo, he needs his dad in his life. So I kind of ended up, packing up and living with my father when I was like 11, going on 12. And he was in Massachusetts. And that's when I moved to Boston. So my coming of age years all through the ending of junior high, going through high school. And then when I went to Howard University, when I would come home to Massachusetts. So all of those 4 years plus my high school years, that's, because I was young. I started school early because I could read young at 4 or 5 years old. Parents started me early or whatever. So I was literally like, I finished high school and I was at Howard University at age 17 and stuff. So, I
Wow.
was grown, but I
Book
now
smart.
I
Book
was,
smart.
I was really a smart guy, and I always made good grades. And I was in all honors classes, and maybe a couple of AP classes or whatever. But because I played basketball for Brockton High, so we had to have our grades up. But my dad was in education, the National Education Association. My mom worked for the Alabama Education Association and the Democratic Party down there, and she's ADC, and she still does stuff with both. And so, I was steeped in the education kind of centerpiece. Like I was expected to perform well in school, and I was always set up to have things that will allow me to do well in school. And I lived up to my end of the deal. And so I went to Howard, and like I said, I would always go back home to Boston. That would be like my little home base. But Howard is another area. It was in the '90s, '87 actually, but that was in the middle of the crack era. And it was a lot going on in DC. DC and Baltimore, like for the guys from New York, that was like the drug route and the gun route. They would come from New York to DC or Virginia and go back up. And so that whole
Hmm.
meal for Edmonds and Alpo and that whole kind of thing, hip hop was on this big burgeoning stages for that classic era that we come to know and love now. And so was R&B. And little did I know as a freshman that I would be a part of that landscape. You know what I mean? I came in there and talking about, I ain't much on Casanova. I was singing like all the little songs, and not knowing that one day I was going to be on stage with these guys.
And all the girls was like, "Who was that singing? Oh, that's that handsome guy over there."
Because I couldn't hear it on the radio. I
That's
was singing.
Garfield.
I
Yeah.
really didn't feel like I was a singer at that point. My boy Darnell, who was my roommate, who was in the group, who brought me into the group,
You
he
said
was,
Darnell. Y'all was roommates.
yeah, freshman year. I
Darnell. Oh, okay.
came into the dorm and he was already in there. He had the back room. And so it was like the freshman dorms, there was an overflow because it was too many freshmen that year. And
Uh huh.
so they put the rest of the freshmen in the upper class dorm downtown DC, where you had to actually catch a shuttle bus from main campus to that dorm. It's called Sutton Plaza. Had a sister dorm called Eaton Plaza, which is now a hotel. It's crazy. But we were down in the real of DC, and we would sing. Me and Darnell would go to the girls' dorm and be singing on Friday nights, saying 40s. And my boy Matt Middleton was singing all kind of little songs. And Darnell's dad and Darnell himself went to the school, Eastside High School in New Jersey, with Joe Clark, like Lean on Me, that whole movie. He went to that school, and his dad,
Wow. What was his dad's name?
Darnell's last name is Van Rensselaer,
No,
but
his dad.
Darnell and his dad.
Oh,
But
okay.
the group that was singing in the bathroom, that
Hmm.
Fairy Side,
Yeah.
that was Riff, and Darnell's
Riff.
dad. Darnell's dad was their manager. So I used to
Wow.
Darnell would always have the songs in advance before they put out singles and be telling me, yo, they
Wow.
about
That's
to come out with
awesome.
a song. And we would learn it and we would go to the girls in the dorm next door and sing all these songs that hadn't come out yet with Riff. And now, fast forward 30, 40 years, Dwayne from Riff is now in the group shot with G Fly from the group Men of Vision in our group. But so
Okay.
we were on campus. We were freshman roommates. Darnell went and joined the Alphas, his sophomore year. And Martin Gaye and Carl Martin were already, in that trajectory. I went to the Nation at the time, and then came back, and me and Darnell met up like my junior year. Towards the end of junior year, we started hanging back out again. And then one of the first things, and I had gotten married in college, but
Okay. Oh, you were
my,
your college sweetheart. Okay.
my dad had filed me on his taxes, so they cut off my
Okay.
financial aid. So there was a time
Oh,
period when I still had housing, but I couldn't go to school. So during that little time period, I was just hanging with Darnell, going to the Fine Arts Building where he was practicing with this group Shy. This big performance was about to happen on campus, with this big talent show, and they were practicing all these Boys to Men songs. I'm talking about maybe like 5-6 weeks in advance. I'm just sitting there every day, and it was five of those guys at first. Two of them right before the event, maybe like a week and a half before the event, they decided to quit. They didn't want the pressure because that event was like the Apollo. People come there specifically just to boo the talent. Now the talent was incredible. There was this dude named Tracy Lee, a Philly rapper who ended up having huge success on I can't remember his record label. Then you had it was Uptown. No, something Universal by Storm Universal, and then you had Debbie Allen's niece that sung with this group called Pure Soul. Um, what's her name? Dawn Allen. Then you had Eric Roberson, incredible talent from Jersey, from East Orange, from I think he's from no, where is E. Roberson is from somewhere in Jersey. I can't remember where he's from. I was gonna say East Orange, but I think it's somewhere else. But he's from Jersey, killing it. Eric Roberson's incredible singer. Did songs, wrote songs for the likes of Jill Scott, everybody in the industry. E. Roberson penned for. He has an incredible pen. All these talents, and rowdy crowd comes. It's like the Apollo, like the New York kids and the football players come to that one talent show just to boost something on a Friday night, even though the talent is superb. And we happened to go on last. We sung all these Boys to Men songs, but we caught an encore instead of getting booed. And we came out, we were like, what we gonna do? What else we got left? And so the dude was like, yo, let's sing our practice song, If I Ever. And so we came into the front of the stage. Then he was gonna get booed, even though they asked for encore. And we ooh da doo 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 doo. And then when the chorus came around, Darnell sung the chorus. The next time it came around, all them hard rocks in the crowd, they started singing the chorus like they knew the song. We were like, what? So when the curtains closed, we were just standing on stage with our tongues out, like, and we were like, yo, y'all want to try to get a record deal? And from that point, we said, yes, let's do it. And we messed around and got lucky and got a freaking record deal. And
wow. That's
that's how
awesome.
I got born. It was like that was the progression. But yeah, that was my progression, and everything. And then I remember freshman year, like me and Puffy, we were the first, we were like the youngest two to ever make the Howard University fashion show for homecoming at the time, because usually they get upperclassmen, because their bodies are more filled out, the male models and stuff like that. But Puffy at that point was more like a dancer, and he was always a club promoter and a party thrower with Derek Angeletti, D Dot, the mad rapper from Puffy's camp, from Bad Boy. D Dot did hits like Hypnotize and stuff like that. He was the swag master of that label. Like he in the session, he makes sure that it's swag, that it's sexy. He put his little in it, and it came out a hit with Ron
Hmm.
Lawrence too. But me and Puff made the fashion show early on. That was like one of the first times I started to see that on campus. People kind of like knew who I was and stuff, way before Shy even happened. And then Shy happened, and then it just took off. We were going around the world, and the rest is a blur. Like I can't even tell you. Look up, it's 30 some years later, and I'm like, damn. So
How
yeah.
was it attending at Howard? And I was doing some research. You guys wrote a song together, "Baby, I'm Yours."
We wrote all of our
Yeah,
songs.
yeah,
I wrote all of our songs. We all we no we
yeah,
wrote
yeah.
every single.
How wasn't going to Howard? Like, how was the environment?
Well, we did "Baby I'm Yours," a video on Howard's campus, if that's what you said.
Okay, okay.
Yeah,
And how
the video.
was it going? How was it
I
going
would not trade it.
attending
I
there?
only applied to one school, and it was Howard, because my junior year, my father, who worked for the National Education Association, had his main conference meeting, which was in DC, the DC location. It happened to coincide with my spring break. And he said, hey, man, you want to roll with me to DC? I'm like, what? Is this a
Mm-hmm.
trick question? Yeah, I'm gonna roll to DC. So he took me to
Mm-hmm.
DC, and it was a Friday. He dropped me off on Howard's campus while he went to his meeting, and it was like 11:45. And unbeknownst to me, my life was about to change in 15 minutes. At noon, all those doors burst open, and I was sitting, ironically, I was sitting on the steps of the Fine Arts Building, which would be the building I would frequent, to practice later on, when I got 4 years later. But I was sitting on those steps of the Fine Arts Building. The tower down there on the clock said, doon, 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 did the 12 o'clock clock bell thing. All the doors burst open, and the sea of humanity just kind of just proliferated the campus, and it was just all these just beautiful people. The girls were just incredible, model looking, but they had something going on. The brothers looked all sophisticated. The School of Business was right there, the suits, just the whole nine. The Greek stones were all right there. And I was like, yo, I'm coming here. And it wasn't like I wasn't used to black colleges, because I grew up on a Alabama State University campus. I saw black excellence as a youth. My first 2 third grade years were on a black college campus, so I saw that.
Mm-hmm.
But Howard, man, just hit me in the head as a 16-year-old at that time. So
Wow, 16.
my pops came to pick me up. He was like, "So you had a good time?" I was like, "Yo, Dad, I'm going to Howard." He's like, "For real?" I was like, "Yeah." Now I played basketball, so I had all these Division II and a couple of Division I scholarship offers to play ball and stuff. And I told my dad I'm going to Howard, for which I had I didn't have a scholarship offer, so he was going to have to pay for that because he made a little bit too much money for me to get financial aid at that point. So he was going to have to come out the pockets. But I'm going to Howard. So when it came time to filling out applications, I only filled out the application to Howard because that's where I wanted to go. I didn't see any value in just going through the motions, seeing who could accept me. And I knew where I wanted to go. Luckily, I did fairly decent on my SAT scores and stuff, and Howard took me in. I qualified, and there I was. I was at the university, and it was everything on all levels that I hoped it would be, and more. The people who I met, movers and shakers of the world right now, and I met them in their burgeoning stages as youth, pretty much, getting to see them come of age just like me. The Raspberry of Newark, New Jersey, Matt Middleton, district attorney type of person in New York City, like Jelani, who's been on CNN several times as a correspondent, Johnny Cobb, just so many different people, April Silver, I was in a group called Black Nia Force. And we kind of took over the A building while we were at Howard because they tried to have Lee Atwater on the board, who was a KKK member. And we put a stop to that. And at the time, like Public Enemy and Rakim Allah, people like that was who we partied to, but they were conscious rappers. And that was our that was our part. So it was ingrained in our bodies to not let things like that fly. We were radical just by rote, and so I was a part of different organizations like that. I was always trying to be of substance. I was Liberal Arts Student Council vice president. I ran for Howard University student body president. Like I was active. I worked on Capitol Hill for the Senate Judiciary Committee. I was a serious student. And now, I'm Dr. Bright. I got a PhD in educational policy studies.
Congratulations.
But also Garfield from Shy that people know in that capacity. So I was always of substance, but I never played up on it. But I know what I am. So
okay, and tell me about y'all. You should write a book. You have so much. You should write a book.
I wrote a fiction book called Lotus, and
I saw that. Yeah.
2013, where hip hop is believed to be a white cultural product. It's deep, but anyway. But yeah, I'm gonna write a biography.
Yeah. And your first album was Right Back at You. Tell me about that.
The album was If I Ever Fall in Love. That was
If I Fall in Love. I'm sorry. Yeah, If I Fall in Love. Okay.
Second, because it's Right Back at You.
Second, okay. Yeah. If I Fall in Love was your first album, and then your second album was Right Back at You. Okay.
And then Blackface was our real second album, but Right Back at You was like a mini EP. It was like 6 live songs of the songs that were on the first album, live versions, and then we did maybe like 4 new songs on that particular joint. But then the second real full EP came out. It was called Blackface.
Mm-hmm. I mean, that's like, I know I wasn't born when y'all first came out, If I Ever Fall in Love, but while I was listening to that song, I was like, you guys had, y'all harmony was on point. Y'all nailed that song. It was on point. And I was like, let me hear that again. I was like, oh my gosh, these guys can sing, And I was like, dang, I missed out on that generation.
Oh man, the 90s was
the 90s was
all the artists were one of
y'all
one.
put R&B on the map. I mean,
I
y'all,
mean, well,
and that made y'all,
we stood on the shoulders of giants, to be honest with you. Like we were
yeah.
from the whole tradition of the people like the Temps and the Four Tops and the Spinners and the
I mean, y'all
Manhattan,
harmony was on point. I
it
was
takes
like, that's how
six.
you sing. Yeah.
We were just trying to represent, Commission, all these different groups that we looked up to.
Commission. Y'all looked up to them a lot.
So yeah,
Commissioned.
for me, I
Yeah.
went to gospel. Dude. I was raised in jazz, but when I got exposed to Commission by Darnell and all the other R&B cats, Jodeci, Fred Hammond's voice to me stuck out like, whoa, who is that guy?
Mm-hmm.
Like, wow. And I was floored by that guy. Like, I still am.
Yeah.
That's
If
like
I
favorite vocalist of all time.
And then yeah, when that song came out, y'all was well known in the R&B industry, and you guys was on Arsenio Hall show.
Yeah,
And how was it
Arsenio.
being on his show, because that was
It
very
was dope.
popular
It was
back
so
then?
we actually got to be on his show twice, maybe three times. He brought us back. And
Okay.
it was just incredible to see and be a part of the pulse of America, Black America, because Arsenio represents
Yes.
the pulse. He had everybody on, had artists. He broke new artists. He was the man, and we were just thrilled that he loved us in the way that he
Oh
did.
yeah, because y'all can sing.
So we just appreciated Arsenio so much for that. He definitely gave
And
us a
then
good review.
yeah, you guys was on Soul Train Music Awards, and you
Yeah.
guys got the opportunity to perform on got the opportunity to be no, got the opportunity to perform at President Bill Clinton's
Oh yeah, no,
inauguration.
that was one of the best moments of being in Shot. Let me tell you why.
Yeah,
I
and
will
tell me
tell you,
about the Soul
man.
Train Music Awards.
The
Yeah,
Soul Train
how was
Awards was
that?
cool. That was cool. You presented. That was nice. But the inauguration was more incredible
Inauguration.
because as young artists, this is the way we even got to be a part of that, right? We were the youngsters in that whole milieu of artists. Chelsea Clinton happened to be a Shy fan and asked Daddy Bill, can Shy be a part of this?
Wow, that's
And
awesome.
that's how we
That's
got to do it.
awesome.
Now, when we get there, it's in the wintertime. We had to rehearse for a week. The closing number was the song "We Are the World." Quincy Jones, Michael Jackson. "We Are the World." That whole thing, right? So we had to rehearse every day for like maybe like 6 days with the likes of Michael Jackson, Stevie Wonder, Diana Ross, Benny King, The Sounds of Blackness, James Ingram, rest in peace. Um, I mean, like the heavy Melissa Etheridge, all these big heavy hitters in the industry, Shaka Khan, Patty LaBelle, all these different huge names were there for that inauguration. And Take Six, Luther, all these different
Oh
people that we looked up to,
wow.
we were smack dab in the middle of as these rookies. And so they made these makeshift linen kind of like room things outside, like separated by linen. It was sticks and linen. And we would go in there and take our breaks. And we were with Take Six was partnered up with us. So we were in there like our little roommates would Take Six. Luther was across the hall, and we would be building with them. I remember I went to the bathroom. They had these porta potties, but they were real like exquisite porta potties. And I went in there and I was standing next to Stevie Wonder, my
Oh
idol.
my
That's my favorite.
goodness.
Him and Donnie and
Wow.
Marvin,
All the great
all
legends was
Saints
there.
Creek. And so I was trying to figure out what to call this man because I had to introduce myself. I couldn't just say, "Hey, Stevie." Couldn't do that. And it sounded weird and goofy saying Mr. Wonder. So by the time we finished, washed our hands and was about to be out the bathroom, I came up with, "Hey, Mr. Stevie Wonder." And he was like, "Who's that?" And then I told him who I was and stuff. And he knew who I was. He knew our songs and stuff. And I was just so flattered that he knew us, and I met my idol pretty much. And then we did Stand By Me with Benny King and everything. And it was just a big experience to practice with them every week. Diana Ross would come stand next to us in the little rehearsals. It was like a big circle we would stand in and rehearse. Then find out Ray Charles was playing the piano, Quincy was directing it, Michael
Wow.
Jackson was there. It was just an incredible experience to be a part, like not just on stage on a performance, but to practice with these guys for like 6 days straight, for maybe like 6 hours a day as new artists out with these guys, these legends, and for them to tell us
Yes.
they dug us. That was
Awesome
huge in
legends.
our progression. That was huge in our progression. I'll never forget that.
Yeah.
That stood
Yo,
out for me.
yeah, when I did my research about you guys, and I said they performed at President Bill Clinton's inauguration, I was like, I'm
Mhm.
not shocked. I was like, because yeah, I'm not shocked at all, because you guys, like I said, y'all put R&B on the map. So, and when that song came out, "If I Ever Fall in Love," people was like, we want them on the show. And then Bill, yeah, we want them on the show. So you guys were always busy touring,
Yeah.
selling out concerts, and
Oh, yeah.
you
Well, the
know, how
90s
was the
group,
environment being on tour together? You and
SWV,
Mark and Carl and Darnell. How was it being on tour together?
that was incredible because it was a thing back in the day called the Budweiser Superfest. And
Okay.
my guy now, he's in boxing, but what's his name? The promoter, damn, I can't think of his name all of a sudden, but he's PBC. He's the head of PBC now, but he was, damn, he's Harvard educated. He was the biggest black promoter. Why can I not think of his name? Anyway, you do the research.
It's
But
okay. Yeah, I'll do
he's such
it.
a staple in R&B. But he used to put on these things called the Budweiser Superfest back in the day, and
Okay.
we were fortunate enough to get invited to be on that tour. Now it was Jade, the group Jade, it was H Town, it was SWV, it was Silk, it was Shy, and some nights for closing it would be BBD or like LL Cool J or Naughty by Nature, right? And those were the groups that were always on that show. And so we pretty much grew up with these people because we did 2 tours back to back with them. And just those are the hottest artists of the day, and we still tour together to this day in various packaging.
Awesome.
We're always together, and that was like the dopest time because like if our bus broke down, like H Town would be behind us going to the next city too, and will pick us up, and I'll be up all night
Awesome.
talking to Dino, rest in peace, and Shazam
Yes.
and GI. And
Hmm.
now to this day, I live in Houston, so I already had a relationship with them guys. So I hang it with Shazam and GI from time to time because that's what I literally grew up with these cats, and we do shows with Silk. If they got a show, they might tell the promoter, "Hey, why don't you call Shy and get them on the
Yeah, call Shy.
look up.
Yeah.
We look out for each other. Like I just got a phone call from Tress from High Five, the group High Five, telling me about a show that he want to get me on. Like it's like a family still, and I owe all of that to those days when we first got put on, we first got signed, when all of us used to perform together. And the '90s was definitely a movement of the R&B guys. Were like we were cool with each other. We didn't have beef with each other and stuff like that. We really loved each other and looked out.
You guys knew how to get along back then. Everybody knew how to get along. I mean, you had your moments, but you
Right.
guys knew how
But
to
we
work
had
them
love.
out.
We had respect for each other's talent. Everybody was a
Yeah.
one. Nobody was trying to sound like nobody else. Like all those groups had their own sound, and I loved all of
Yeah.
them, and they loved us. It was like I stood by the stage and watched them after we performed. You know what I mean? Like it was like a treat. I had the best seat in the house on the side of the stage. And, it was just a talented group of individuals. It still is to this day. A lot of them keep their voice up. We do these shows, and people still attend well. Sold out arenas, theaters, what have you. And it's just a joy to rock with these guys still and still be living and still be able to do it for a living. How people appreciate it for sure.
Yeah. And then you guys were on Family Matters,
Oh
the
yeah, that was fun
episode.
too.
Yeah,
That
Good
was
Cop,
fun.
Bad Cop. Yeah,
Yo,
Family
Urkel,
Matters.
man, to play ball.
Urkel, Steve Urkel.
Backstage, right? He had a whole basketball hoop set up, and we got to shoot ball with him. Jalil, and he could ball. He was like, people see him being quirky and all that, but excuse me, he's a real brother. Like he like yo, let's shoot, let's hoop. Like, oh, word, okay. 6'4", I played ball. I came up through the ranks, and so we was back there balling, and made it just that much more fun. We got to be on a couple of other shows. Out All Night, LL Cool J show back in the day with Debbie Allen. They had a show called Out All Night. Us and Brownstones did a Christmas special with them, and that was dope.
Okay.
It was just some dope times back then, man. Just really really warm and just fly experiences. Wouldn't trade it in.
Yeah. Like when I watch like Unsung and documentaries and watch old videos of different groups used to sing in the 90s, I was like, I missed out on that generation. It's like
Really,
my generation is different. It's like I missed out on y'all generation because y'all have fun, great music,
yeah.
and it's just yeah, and the concerts were amazing. It's like I would never see that again.
Oh, don't
I
say
mean,
that.
I will still go on. I will still like go to concerts and festivals, but it's not going to be the same, you
That time
know.
period is just a different milieu.
Yeah,
Let me
that's why
tell
I'm
you,
honored to have. Yeah,
I knew during that time, as I was living in it, that was a special time. Like I could
yeah,
feel
y'all had
that
special
was
moments
special.
back
Yeah,
then.
I could just tell that this time period is gonna go down as one of those because it was parallel with the hip hop golden era. It was like the hip hop was doing something special, You know, with the emergence of Nas and Wu Tang and Black Moon and Snoop and Dre, the Chronic, and then Outkast comes up and out of the South, and it was just a big. Like these artists were like bigger than life in the making, and you could tell. And then on the R&B side, the ones we already mentioned, plus like the mint conditions of the world and poetry, all of the UMV, can't leave out them. And then you got this solo artists, like Jaheim when he came out, Janae, I can't forget Janae, and all these other artists that it was just one of one after boom, 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 and everybody's held their own and had hits of their own that you still taste and relish to this day. It was just extraordinary time. It was really dope.
Yeah, and I'm so happy that you guys are. I'm glad to see Shy back together, singing those great love songs,
Oh, yeah,
traveling
we
the
never broke.
world.
We got
And
different
I'm glad
iterations, but
that you guys are, huh?
we never like stopped. Like people have that
I'm
misconception.
glad. I'm glad you
Like,
guys
people
never
think that we
stopped.
came back together or something. Like we have different iterations of Shy,
And
different
sometimes you
memories.
need a break, but I'm glad to see you guys back together, singing those
No, we
great
didn't take a break, is
songs.
what I'm trying to say. Like we
Okay,
kept going. Like there were different
kept going.
iterations of
Okay,
Shy. Like certain members would fall off, we replace them, but we always was touring. We always was doing shows.
good.
Like that never stopped. In my 35-year career, I mean, as an original member, I always been doing shows. That never ever stopped. Like so, some people just caught on to it recently or whatever, but and we still sell out arenas with the other groups and stuff like that in theaters. People want to see the
Yeah.
90s. They still love the 90s and stuff, and we still sound good.
Awesome, awesome. Okay. And I see that you went back to school
For
and
sure.
you went, yeah, I see you went back to school and I can tell that you're very serious about education and I'm glad because education matters. And I
Yeah,
know
for
you're
sure.
gonna, because I'll be watching you on Instagram and YouTube, and I was like, all right, Mr. Professor.
Yeah,
I
that's
said,
just in my blood.
Professor Bryant, yeah, and I see that you went to
My last name is Bright, like a light. Bright.
Bright. I'm sorry, Bright. Yeah, Professor Bright. I see that you went to California State University and you received your
Northridge.
bachelor's
Northridge, Northridge.
degree.
Yeah, I finished there. I went to Howard, but then when we got a record deal, I
So
had a
you went
couple of
to
credits.
Howard and then you went, yeah, I see you went to California
When I,
State.
when, when I came back to school, 3 credits left from Howard turned into like 30 credits. They changed the standards after all those years. So I had to go back to Cal State Northridge for 4 semesters just to finish my undergrad degree. And then from there, I got accepted into a master's degree program at Georgia State in African American Studies. I
Awesome.
did my master's thesis on exactly what is an African-centered education. It's called Toward the Commerce Center. And I got the Asa Hilliard Award for my research on that. And then from there, I got accepted into the PhD program in the College of Education, the Social Foundations of Educational Policy. And then I received the Liberal Arts award for academic excellence and having a great dissertation in that situation. I always had a 4.03 GPA. Like I really am a scholar. Like I really do school when I did school. But I'm also Garfield from Shy too, as you can see my plaque back there. Um,
Okay, I see it. Okay,
yeah,
congratulations.
but
So what made you want to be a school teacher?
well, it's not school. Like I'm just an educator just by nature.
Educator? Okay.
Period. Like just in whatever capacity. I've always had respect for educators because they literally make our world go round. The people,
Mm-hmm.
raw material, unrefined material has to get refined, and knowledge is knowledge. But then you go through tutelage and you get wisdom, which turns into understanding later on. And so those kinds of people have always been near and dear to me, and they've always played a prominent role in my life. Start with my mother, which is always your first teacher, and then your dad. And so I was always
Mm-hmm.
that kind of guy, from Howard experiences. I used to tutor Ujima Shule. We used to go down and like with my Black Near Force group, help tutor some of the kids. I always had a desire and a thirst for education. And so it was just one of those things that, but going through your doctoral program, one of the requirements is, you teach. And so I taught at an independent Black school called Black Star. I taught at alternative schools like here in Houston. Like the population I like to deal with most is like the alternative school kids, the kids that are about to go to juvie. Those are the brothers and sisters I like to interface with. I developed a couple of programs in partnership with Georgia State around critical literacy and digital literacy called I See Me, I Create My Experience. And I did Beyond the Bricks, which started in New Jersey. I was also an ambassador for that. But I always created programs and had a vested interest in shaping youth. I was always a coach of some sort, football, basketball. So, albeit I still taught, but I develop programs as we speak now, and I'm revamping. Remember, I don't know people my age remember Schoolhouse Rock, but I'm doing an updated version. I'm about to make that a mission.
Okay.
And it's gonna be I'm gonna do it in like I'm gonna sing, I'm gonna rhyme, I'm gonna do little things to make certain core content areas more relatable. Um, and that's what it's called, perfectly relatable educational products, PrEP, the PrEP project, and you'll see it coming out soon. And it'll be on YouTube, and I'll create an app for it to where teachers can use some of the materials for supplemental
Get me in
purposes.
touch because I would love to support. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's what I'm
Yeah.
about. I'm made out of that for sure.
Yeah. Of course, we know that God comes first, but education, we should always get our education while like, it's important to get your education. And then, especially if you want to be successful, you have to
Well,
take it
let me,
serious
let
when you go
me
to
piggyback
school.
on that though, because education in the formal sense is important, but there's also a lot to be said about skilled trades and entrepreneurial path. And if you can somehow
Hmm.
marry those two, because some kind of way, with the whole Du Bois Booker T. Washington debate, this talented 10th, people felt like the college trajectory was more important than trades, but they're not. Matter of fact, a lot of the PhDs out here looking for jobs, while the people that are plumbers and electricians and carpenters, they got jobs, they getting paid, and especially
Yeah.
union. So both of those can go hand in hand. And a matter of fact, if you're at the top of your game as an entrepreneur, especially with the skilled trades, you can employ people. And so I never rank those. Like those two can go hand. You can. I'm advocating to where people at fourth grade level can get introduced to a skilled trade while they're on the college trajectory with the STEM programs. And those two should be placed in front of our black kids so they can have that option and learn both as they come up. So then they're ambidextrous mentally when they graduate. They got skilled trade kind of stuff under their belt. And as they're going through college, they got a little hustle if they so choose, and they're preparing themselves academically if they want to be in the corporate space. And if they're taking business classes, they'll find a way to marry those two and employ people. Like I think we need that kind of style of two-pronged education. So I don't want to just make it seem like just the college track is the track. If you are
Yeah,
deeply
everybody's not going to go to college. People want to, like, when they graduate from high school, they want to work. But it's a lot of opportunities out there. Like you said,
just
you can go to
networking,
a trade school. You can,
yep,
it's a lot of opportunity you can do.
right,
Back then it wasn't a lot of options like it is now. But I will tell a young person, like you would tell a young person, okay, if you don't want to go to college, what you want to do? You have,
yeah. Don't sleep on the
education
trade, though.
matters. It matters,
Yep.
especially the world we live in. We need to educate ourselves
Yeah, we need to
because
educate our
if we
own.
don't teach young people about education, their African roots, politics, be proud who they are, this
Right.
world is going to teach them to hate themselves, and we don't
That's
need
that's
that.
that's true. That's facts
And
right
I
there.
love how I love your teachings. I really do. And I can see you being
Thank
a professor at a HBCU college. Of course,
thank
Howard.
you. And I just, I've had opportunities and stuff, but I just
You
something
want to do your
about,
own thing, but you're doing it.
it's
You're
the
doing an
politics
awesome
of it all.
job.
It's not that I want to do my own thing, but it's not a lot of, like they want you to get grants and pay yourselves from the grants, the money and all that great. And
Hmm.
you know, I'd rather kind of be a renegade and just create my own programs and inject myself in spaces the way I feel like I can make a difference in those kinds of ways, rather than have some oversight, taking it to a level that's all business and it's not about the babies. And I feel like a lot of times you don't get the support you
Take your
need.
time having children. Yeah.
Well, I don't mean babies in that way. I mean like just our black kids, period. Those
There you
babies.
go, black children. Well, we have
Yeah,
to I'm 28 years old, and I'm very into my black culture, and I support blacks. I support small businesses. I mean,
great.
business, especially, and I'm involved in the black community. And like you said, like I read in your bio that you reach out to um, young black men.
Yeah.
Give them words of
One of those programs.
wisdom. Yeah, and we need that in our community.
Yep, that's me.
Yeah.
And I can see you, Miss
Yes.
Imani, meaning faith, and I see your whole get down with your natural, which is beautiful. Like I love your whole
Oh,
presentation.
thank you, thank you, thank
Yeah,
you, thank you. Yeah, I want to see, like, I think me and you on the same page. We want our black community to come together as unity, and we want to help black children to be successful. We don't want them to be bums. We want them to be successful, make good decisions, and It's not easy, but we don't have a choice. We have to do
Right.
something before it's too
Yeah.
late.
So much potential untapped in our
Uh-huh.
youth, and they don't even know it themselves. Like how many incredible musicians might there be if there were music programs with kids who just float through and matriculate, who never knew that they were dope at guitar or piano because they just never had a program to see if they were. But how many like
Mm-hmm.
dope musicians have you missed out on? And you in music, if you go to college, music theory takes the place of mathematics. Like if
Mm-hmm.
you take music theory, you don't have to take math because it is math. So it's still a
That's one of
scholarship.
your favorite subjects, math.
No, actually, well, life math, like real math, like supreme
Okay.
mathematics. But math, I didn't have great teachers, so I didn't see myself. The last time I was good at math was eighth grade when I had a black teacher named Mr. Thomas. That made me really feel
Okay.
valued, and I learned I was more, But other times it just didn't work out so well for me. But I have a respect for math, empirical math. But then there's also because math is not just quantitative; it's qualitative. Numbers are qualitative. And I can give a whole thing about what that actually is. Like those are stages of becoming. Zero is the true one, and 1 through 9 is a reflection of that zero trying to form itself again. That's why when you get to one, you got to put a zero, and then you get to two, you put a zero. Zero is the true one. Everything can be encased inside of that 360. And so that kind of esoteric math, I'm very much steeped and interested in, and how it relates on this level, and in this exoteric scope of things, because math is a qualitative endeavor and pursuit, as well as the number having a value of how much you have, you know, quantity and stuff like that. But the qualitative aspects far outweigh the quantitative value of it to me. And there's a lot to be said about the mystical enigma and the laws that math represent, that number represents. I'll just stop there because I could go on. But
Wow, I'm gonna call you master teacher.
I love esoteric knowledge, and I've studied a lot of masters, and I learned.
Yeah, I can tell.
I am
Yeah.
55, so I've accumulated enough knowledge over the time where I can kind of like, and then when I was in the nation, we had to learn all these actual facts. And so that gave me a thirst and love for how numbers operate in the scope of things. When I learned that the earth is 6 sextillion tons, univolley by 23 ciphers, like that kind of thing blew my mind. The square miles of the earth is 196,940,000 square miles. That kind of, the land is 57,255,000 square miles. The water, 139. I mean, the water is 139,685,000 square miles. Like that kind of stuff broadened my scope on what numbers are, like, and how we use them, how narrow-minded we are. The useful out of the 57,255,000 square miles, we use 29 million square miles of the land, useful land.
Oh
That's how much it's.
wow.
And like just all this kind of stuff hitting me that I had to learn at 18, 19, broaden my understanding of how I see the world, shape my lens. The speed of sound is 1,120 feet per second. The speed of light, 186,000 miles per second. The speed of thought is 24 billion miles per second, considered average. Like that kind of thinking just did something for me as a young guy. Like, and I always looked at number in a different way than its normal utility on how we see it today. Like that kind of stuff really, really, kind of broadened me as a youth, being exposed to that kind of knowledge. Dr. Ali Muhammad, Minister of Muslim Afur at the time, had a power study group on Howard's campus.
What was his name?
Dr. Abdul Ali Muhammad.
Okay, Dr. Abdul. Okay.
And he
Is he
was,
still around?
yeah, Dr. Ali Muhammad was the man. He was a brain surgeon by trade, and he was in the nation, and he had a power study group. Brother was fly too. Would come to the campus all fly, but he was brilliant, and he would power and the value of the youth. And that's the kind of example I still hold dear when I teach, like that kind of style. He had a Socratic kind of method where he would ask questions, and he wouldn't just give you the information. He would kind of ask you like a Socratic kind of way. I was like, that's a slick way of teaching, because it forces you to own it, forces you to think about your question. If you already know the answer, don't ask a question that you know the answer to. A lot of our youth do that. They'll ask a question knowing the answer. He eliminated all that frivolity. He
Well,
put
he
us in.
taught you well. You was already, I mean, your parents taught you, and then you went to college and you learned, your parents taught you about your black culture, and then you went to
Yeah, for sure.
Howard and you learned more about your black culture.
Yeah.
So you was ready. You was
And Howard
prepared
itself
to.
is that, like all the buildings who they're named after, they force you to study what those people are.
Oh yeah.
Ooh, Douglas, all these different, just all these different people, and you find out that you really literally standing on the shoulders of giants, and what they were all about. And that's your tradition, and you're part of that legacy. So, you had a lot to be confident and proud of as you matriculate. And so that's
Mm-hmm.
the kind of stuff I want to instill within the youth that I impact. And I also want them to see, because in the classroom, I have my platinum plaque on one side, but then I have my PhD degree on the other side of the whiteboard. And then I'm coming to class looking like this. Well, not a wife beater, but I'm coming to class pretty much looking like, what's up? And they like, you got that and that? I'm like, yeah, you can just be you and do these things. You
You
don't
could
have to
do
have
it too.
yeah, you don't have to look a certain way. It's just it's what it's
Yeah.
this. And I'm
Right.
here to
You're
impact
not
that.
yeah, you're not bragging
Yeah.
about your degrees. You just letting young people know if I got my bachelor's, master's, and doctor, you can do it too. But
And I'm a
you have to
platinum
believe
artist.
in
You know what I'm
yourself. You
saying?
have to believe that you will achieve in life.
Yeah,
That's
and
what
I'm a
you're
platinum
telling
artist.
them.
As a
Huh?
platinum artist, I said, and I'm a platinum
Yeah.
artist. So it's like I did
Yeah.
both. It's not either
Hmm.
or. So whatever your dream is, follow it, but
Do it.
fortify with something
Yeah.
to undergird it too. You know what I mean? I'm living proof of it. So I try to use myself as an example, for the shorties, you know,
Why
like
do
Wu
you
Tang
visit
said.
Howard sometimes? Do you go to the
Oh,
campus, like the
I've gone to several
homecomings?
homecomings over the years. Yeah, I haven't been in
Awesome.
maybe
Are
like
you one of the guest speakers?
I was at homecoming. I performed at homecoming this past last home.
What
Shout
year?
out
What
to
year was
it was
that?
their it was their anniversary, the 100th anniversary, and so it was a special thing.
Awesome.
We got
Well, y'all
invited to
put y'all
perform.
school, y'all put y'all college on the map, Howard. Yeah.
Now we were many in the
Y'all made
line. Debbie
history.
Allen,
Y'all made
Felicia
history.
Rashad, like so many people came out of Howard. You know what I mean before us, but we
Oh,
definitely
so
we
many
added to the
talented
legacy.
people
I'm
went to
just grateful
Howard.
we added to that legacy, and I'm proud to be a Bison. That's for
Y-
sure. Like
Yeah,
for sure.
yeah, and one thing about the HBCU I love, it's like a family. They don't push you away. They help you. They care about you, and you feel like, man, they so hard on me. Yeah, because they know the world is going to be harder, so they
Yep.
trying to prepare us for the world. And when you go to HBCU, you're a family.
Yep.
Yeah,
It was dope. I
yeah,
enjoyed all of the parts of the experience, the ups and the downs. It was
and
a,
I
a
yeah.
character building, piece for me, and I enjoyed every minute of it. I did for sure.
Yeah, and I did not know Shy was a Swahili name. Shy.
Well, Shai comes from what people think Egyptian Book of the Dead, but it's really the Egyptian Book of Coming Forth by Day. And within
Okay.
that, Shai, to paraphrase and cut it short, is like destiny in human form. If you look
Okay.
at the ceremony of the weighing of the heart, when you see the two scales, and you see the weighing of the heart, and the heart has to be lighter than the feather, and you see Anubis, walking the participant through, and you see I forget the alligator that's going to chew you up if your heart is too heavy. But you see Sha right there by the scales because it's destiny in human form. They do everything in duality. So there's a female counterpart named Reninette, which, for lack of a better word, she's fate in human form. So together, destiny and fate, the male female aspects, weave themselves to create future, and those two kind of like in harmony create future. So we picked the male aspect of it, which is Shy, which is destiny in human form, for our name, and so that's what it comes
Awesome.
from. But there's a Jewish, Israeli kind of thing. There's a Swahili aspect, and all of the Nile Valley. Those are common. So it's no wonder it would drift over into the Swahili. Swahili was created way after the Egyptian, ancient Egyptian Kemetic language. Swahili was a commerce language that they kind of all
Mm-hmm.
created to be able to do trade, and speak to each other, and with the Watotos, different thing, Jumbo, all the different words that they speak. But that was a commerce language that came about later. But the Kemetic languages that the hieroglyphs represent was way in antiquity, way back Imhotep's day, and so Shai was a part of that knowledge base way back in those days. And so
Okay.
yeah,
My name means the language Imani means Swahili. And then
yeah,
I say
it's
Imani.
part of Nguzo Saba.
Yeah, yep,
Yeah, Imani,
yep.
faith.
So they
Yeah.
Prince of Kwanzaa.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we got
yep.
Nia, we got Bloomberg, we got the creative, the cooperative economics. I forget what the name of that, because Kumba is similar to that one too. The other one,
Kumba. Yep.
Kuji Chagalia. You got all of them, but Imani is
Oh,
one of
yeah.
the days for
Man,
sure.
we can relate. We can relate. Man, we should teach classes together.
Yeah, well, like I said,
Yeah.
Howard and coming through Black Nia Force and being a part of our
Yeah.
cultural, Nia was part of we were the Freedom Organization for
Nia
Racial and
purpose. Yep.
force that meant Freedom Organization for Racial and Cultural Enlightenment, and NIA meant purpose. So our purpose was, and then force and math equals mass times acceleration. So we wanted to be the force to accelerate the masses. And so
Mm-hmm.
Nia was a big part of that piece. Our purpose was to do that. So we foregrounded Malana Karinga's, day, Kwanzaa that he came up with to illustrate those concepts. And your name is part of that,
Awesome.
the seven principles.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
yeah,
If a young person came up to you and you see them struggling and they just want to do better, but it's hard for them to do better, what kind of words of wisdom you will tell them, especially they came up to you and say, I need your help. I want to do better, but I'm struggling. I wasn't raised like this, but I need your help because we don't want to throw people away. We want to encourage, we want to give people words of wisdom, give them love, support. So what kind of young words of wisdom you would tell uh, a young person
right.
how
Well,
to
for
do
me,
better?
I don't have like these blanket, like, jewels that I just throw at a young person. Like that person that I talk to, I look in their eyes and they, do better is real subjective and is real broad. So for their specific experience, I would tailor whatever advice I would give to them. And so I would rap to them for a minute to see where they were coming from and who they were and what their strengths were. And what I could perceive as maybe like things that they need to work on. And what I'm like the number nine. Whatever you give the number nine, it gives it back to you on a higher level. Like, a baby's born in 9 months. Well, if you add the number two to the number nine, it gives you back 11, which is still a two, but on a higher level. 1 + 1 equals 2. So I reflect a higher self of a person that's in front of me. I make them feel bigger. I make them see their higher self or their potential as if it's them right now. And I deal with them as if that's what I'm looking at. And so just by me being around and dealing with them as if they are already their higher self, they'll see that there are expectations from somebody external that sees them as something that they might not see themselves as. And ultimately they'll grow into that because somebody's laid the foundation of seeing that and dealing with them as if they are that. So I kind of like expand their belief of what they see in self. And because I know the answer is always within. Internal reflects external always. And so I just try to make them see what I see, and the way I do that is not by talking about it. It's just by talking to them as if they're that right now. So I create, like you give nine a number, it gives it back to you on your higher level. I try to reflect them as their higher self as I'm dealing with them. And then they'll ultimately, it catches on and they start seeing themselves like I see them. And then they
Mm-hmm.
become, and then and then I'm good. I did what I'm supposed to do. So that's kind of just how I work.
Do you have any programs?
Yeah,
I mean, yeah.
I did a couple programs at Georgia State. One called I See Me, which stands for I Create My Experience. Um, and
Okay.
but now, just on my own, I'm not in Georgia State anymore, affiliated with a university. I kind of like create things on my own. So, like curiosity collage is a kind of little peep inside of some of the stuff I got on YouTube where I deal with certain issues that when I was a youth, people kind of overlook. But like I said, I'm starting this Schoolhouse Rock where I'm going to deal with history. I'm gonna deal with like the language
Schoolhouse
arts.
Rock.
Well,
Okay.
remember Schoolhouse Rock back in the day?
What year
You
that came
probably,
out?
you're too young for it, but you got to go research
Yeah, I don't
Schoolhouse Rock.
remember.
Yeah, it was the dopest shit ever on TV, right? It came in between your favorite
What year
cartoons
was that?
all through the 70s, in the early
70.
80s.
No, that was, yeah, I was born in
And what it
1996.
was it taught you, look, I learned the preamble to the Constitution through that. I learned what a noun, what a verb was, what interjection was. I learned all of these things through Schoolhouse Rock. And so it was so impactful in the way that they did it. I'm going to revamp that for now because I think that's something that people would totally thrive from if it was injected into this time period. And I'm gonna do it in a relatable way for now. But go do some research and find out what Schoolhouse Rock was. It was incredible. It was
I'm
set
gonna
to
put that on
jazz.
my nose.
It was animated, and they dealt with different subjects. How a bill becomes a law. I'm just a bill, and I'm sitting here on Capitol Hill. It went through the whole freight, the whole thing of it. Verb, that's what's happening. I can do my thing in action to live. Like they had this whole. You fall in love. You looking at in the cartoon. Luther would be the voice to some of
So
them.
that was a cartoon. Wow,
It was like
cartoon show.
it was like a
Wow.
commercial, like a 2 or 3 minute commercial between your cartoon that you was watching, and
Wow,
it was
commercial.
animated.
Wow.
It was animated, but it was full of like knowledge. Like I learned that like they had the preamble to the Constitution, and I knew it and didn't know that that's what I knew until I got to class one day and we had to study it. and the teacher started writing it, and I was like, oh, I know this. And I sung, "We the people, in order to form a more perfect union, establish justice and ensure domestic tranquility, provide for the common defense, promote the general welfare, and secure the lessons of liberty to ourselves and our posterity." Like they had this whole song to all these different things. How bill becomes law, the preamble, what the 8 times tables was, like all these different noun verbs, like all the parts of speech, how they work. You learn them through this schoolhouse rock format, and you knew them because the song always sticks things into you more than just a rote word does. And I'm going to create that again because I know it's an effective
Do
learning.
it.
Like, you
Do
would have never
it.
learned your ABCs had it not been for that melody. Like only
Wow.
think about it. Only way we
Schoolhouse
know our
Rock.
ABC is A B C D. Like I can go do 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 do, and you could tell me what letter I ended on just by the melody. Like if you had to learn it just like A, B, C, all that sound alike, you would have never. You would have been 9 years old before you learn your ABCs. But the fact that it was a melody put to it when you were younger, especially that elemental P part, like people caught that, and it melodies always accelerate how you take it in because it puts it in a rhythmic packet that the information comes in ordered, even, symmetrical. And so when it's time to recall it, it's easy to recall because you got more bandwidth and more devices to pull it out your brain with instead of this real narrow, literal thing that like A, B. Like it. So there's something to be said about rhythm. That's why you learn songs quicker, and little kids know songs before they know their homework. That a teacher should take note. We'll put the damn thing to music, or some kind of way, like be smarter. So I did as an educator, pedagogically speaking, that's the kind of stuff I'm invested in because I understand psychologically how that really impacts, especially urban kids who are real field dependent, how that works on us, and I'm here for it.
Wow. So who's your favorite black leader? Do you have a favorite black leader? The ones who living and the ones who's not living.
Well, I mean, there's just many people at given times and facets of my life who have been introduced to me through the ancestors, I guess, that said, "Oh, take a look at this or consider this," and then I look up and it's like, Sheikh Anta Diop or you know Bob Marley or Bruce Lee or
Yeah.
Hazrat Khan or um, you know uh, what's my just Minister Farrakhan or Public Chuck D or Rakim, Nas. It comes in different forms. Like,
So many of them.
and so even Melodoma Somé of Water and the Spirit was a book I read that was incredible. Like
What's the name of the book?
of Water and the Spirit, Melodoma
Water.
Somé
Okay. Water of
of
the
Water
Spirit.
and the
Okay.
Spirit. It's a coming of age, rites of passage kind of piece about this African young brother, with the lessons that are packed into it and just the outcomes, like it's just so much. But just so many people that have influenced me and impacted me that have come in different seasons of my world. That they probably have John Henry Clark, like just so many, so many. My man from what's my guy, the Egyptologist, the right now that takes people to Egypt all the time. He's an alpha, one of the illest out there with it. Freaking, I can't think of his name. God, I'm terrible.
No,
He's
you're
so
okay.
this guy. I'm looking at him in my mind's eye. He's still doing it too. He's incredible. He's an alpha from, I think he's from Howard. He takes people to God. He has so much information and knowledge. I'm so mad at myself for not saying his name, but Ron. Anyway, it's not coming to me right now. I
It's
almost said
okay.
Ron. I almost said Ron Carter, the bass player in jazz, but it ain't him. Um,
Oh, okay.
but John Coltrane is one of the people. Like a lot of people don't know, he
Oh,
was a
yeah.
philosopher and a musician.
Mm-hmm.
There's so many people that have impacted me in my trajectory as a learner, lifelong learner. I can't narrow it down to just one guy. There have been kids, like little kids that are younger than me, way younger than me, like actually 12 and 13-year-olds who have hit me in the head with certain things that they've said over as a takeaway from some body of information that was presented that I was floored by. Like, damn, like so I just can't give it to one person. But
Right, right.
of course, the Malcolm X's and the Martin Luther Kings and the Paul Robesons and people
Oh,
of that.
yeah. Paul Robeson. He did everything. He did
He was
actor,
he was a
football. Oh, he
Superman.
played every sport. He was a
Spoke 16
genius.
languages fluently. Talked to world leaders
16
in their
languages.
language.
16.
Talked
Yeah.
to world leaders in their language as a black man at a time when brothers was getting lynched to make them have a perception of black men as opposite of the narrative that they were being fed by America. Here's a man in their face that can speak their language fluently, so they can see in proof. Oh, black men are something. Like it was. He got blackballed, but that man right there, Paul Robeson, is understated as one of our
Yeah.
examples, man. But
Yeah,
yeah, it's just so cool.
that's why we should take education serious because our
Oh, Donald
ancestors,
Byrd. No, I wasn't Donald Byrd, but I love Donald Byrd. That's one of my
Donald Ver,
favorites.
okay,
That's one of my favorites.
yeah, yeah,
But
and
it,
that's why. Yeah, and I'm so happy I have you on here. I have you on here for a reason. I was like, I have to have him on my show. Especially, I was doing my research about you on your YouTube, and you was teaching on, you was on your Instagram. And I was like, oh yeah, I'm gonna invite him on my show. Yeah, I'm saying your name right. Is Garfield?
Garfield, like the cat. Garfield.
Garfield,
Yeah.
Garfield, Garfield.
Yeah.
Okay, okay.
Garfield. Garfield
Garfield,
Bright.
okay. But I'm so honored to have you on my show. It's just like you said, music is your gift. You was born in the music industry, but you are a professor. You are Afrocentric. You have different type of gifts. I mean, you don't have to stuck on one gift. It's so many gifts that God gave us. We just have to do it.
I
And
appreciate
I'm glad that you're proud of your Afrocentric roots because I'm proud. We should never be ashamed.
it.
And we
Nah,
should always educate
I
ourselves.
don't think it's nobody who went to Howard that will come out ashamed of their Africanness. Like
Right.
those.
Some people are, but we shouldn't be ashamed where we
I
came
don't see
from.
nobody going to HBCU and coming out the other end ashamed of their blackness. That's like
Right.
a paradox. If I ever saw that, I'd be
Right.
amazed. Like, really?
Or they put on the front.
Like, what? Like, how could that be? Like, that's not, But yeah, now
Right.
that goes together. So yeah, of course, those experiences that shape you with other folks that look like you are going to forge you into, if you weren't at first, being something that loves his own, because your own is who got you through that.
And what was your major at Howard? I forgot
At
that.
Howard, my major was political science, minor in history,
Political science.
and
Okay.
then
See?
I
Yep.
went on to my
Yep.
master's was in African American studies,
Okay.
because that's a
African American
multidisciplinary
studies.
degree. So mine was focused on history. I mean, education during that period.
Yes,
Writers,
education.
historians, math. African. We have African American studies producers, mathematicians, dance, aesthetics, people like all kind of people exist under that banner African American studies. So it's a multidiscipline discipline. But my trajectory within that was education. And then my degree, of course, my PhD was in educational policy studies. Educational policy, an example of it is like No Child Left Behind for people who might be trying to figure out what that means. Like I studied the social foundations around how a policy like that gets enacted. What are the ramifications for the communities? What it means, what it entails, like what the milieu around it academically and socially, what that means for Black folks. So
Okay.
that's what my major did.
Okay. Okay.
But
Wow. I learned a lot from you. Thank you for the words of wisdom. I learned a lot. I thought I was in class right now. You the professor, I'm the college student.
uh, you went to Fisk. Where'd you go?
I went to Wilberforce,
Oh,
but
Wilberforce.
now
That's in
I'm
Ohio.
doing yeah, but now I see I like my family's from the South. So when I went to
Okay.
Wilberforce, Wilberforce, I'm not gonna talk bad about Wilberforce because it's an HBCU school, but I was like the
They got the little lightning
South.
bolt on their logo, the little lightning bolt. Is that
Yeah,
Wilberforce?
I don't know. It's been a
I think
while since I went there.
Yeah, I like.
Yeah, but I decided to go to Alabama A&M, and
Oh,
that's in
A&M,
Huntsville,
Birmingham.
Alabama. Yeah, my cousin.
I used to go to Magic City Classic all the time when the state used to play against.
Yeah, I do online classes at Alabama A&M, and
Okay.
my cousin who passed away, her name was Merle Battle.
Rest in-
She went to Alabama A&M. Her granddaughter went there, and she told me
Okay.
about the school. So I
Okay.
was like, okay,
Now,
because
South.
my parents took me and my sisters to we saw Morehouse, we saw Spelman, we went to the Black Cultural Festivals. Like we can relate. Oh yeah,
Yeah.
you can relate to the stuff. You saw more than, yeah, you had You know, in your
live that.
generation, it was more funner when you went to the HBC. It was more fun.
Maybe not, maybe so. Just a different time, you know what I mean? But it was
Yeah, I mean, you had, I mean, y'all. I'm telling you, it's like when I look at my generation, I'm like, I missed out on y'all generation. It's like y'all had fun back then, especially HBCU. Y'all was,
times were different.
it was
It was
very
more
popular. You know,
it was a little
it's
more
not like
free.
it's not like it is now. And
Yeah,
I
it
know
was.
you miss those days. I know you
I
miss
mean, I miss
the
them to
old
the degree. I
days.
lived through them, so I always have them. I live them. I'm made out of them. So yeah, I do miss them.
Hmm.
You know, as long as I'm still living and the people that are part of that are still living, it's still a thing. Like we still got that. You know what I mean? So
Right.
I pull from those experiences. But there's something to be said about today, and everything turns and morphs for the time that it's in to fit the time and to to navigate the time or whatever. So it's just it's a different facet. But there are high moments today too. It's just a different way of it. You know what I mean? And there's different value placed on certain things that today we might understand the profundity of later on. Like, so I'm not gonna
Okay.
sell it. I'm not gonna sell it short. I'm just gonna, you know, it's just like a hairstyle when it's in the in between stage and stuff. It's going towards something, so you can't just be mad at it because it ain't there yet. But it's progressing to end up being something. If you got a vision, you're gonna see it through till it becomes that. So that's kind of where we are now. It's like the in between stage of some other phase that is about to hit. And so it looks more chaotic. It looks less finished, but it's a lot of jewels within that the journey of it. That's also because right now you should always look at right now as the good old days.
Hmm.
Right now you living in the good old days compared to
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I'm not ashamed where yeah, I'm not
not even
ashamed
ashamed. I'm
about
just
my
saying
generation.
no, not
Yeah.
even ashamed. I'm just saying
Hmm.
you always see just right now in this moment. These are also the good old days. Like when you
Oh
get
yeah.
older,
Oh
you're
yeah.
gonna look back on this time as the good old days too.
Oh
And
yeah.
and so it's like, no matter how much adversity with the Trump administration and all this other stuff going around and
Um,
all the stuff that we swimming through,
life
it's
goes on.
still the good
Yeah.
old days. You know what I mean? So, just look at it as such. And then, you can out vibe the time. You don't gotta be relegated to the vibe that's being presented by what's happening. You create that vibe that you want to feel. Grab you some good music, get you a good state of mind, surround yourself with some dope people, and vibe and create new thoughts and new ideas because it's ideas that power the progression of humanity. And so new ideas come to fruition, and you can out idea the mode that you're in now. This mode that we're in now is an idea based mode. All of it is. The concept of racism is an idea. What if we out ideaed the concept of racism? Then we would be living inside of that racism in another bubble that's about the version, but it might be made out of something else that we see that it don't allow us to express all the way yet. But we in there living it until it becomes, and everything's going to manifest at some point. So you can literally out idea the idea that you're a part of. And everything is an idea, and it's in our mainframe. So we don't have to live through those vibrations and internalize them as the end or be all. You can literally have the audacity to out imagine what is. And because imagination is probably the most important quality of human experience, period. When you can see something literally that is not yet and have the nerve to try to make it be, that's the most revolutionary thing that anybody could ever do. People call themselves revolutionaries, but vision to see something that ain't right now and make that be, that mental understanding is very revolutionary in the face of programming that tries to make you go a certain way. If you can just out see that and go past that in your mind's eye and say, I'm going to live to this dictate out beyond what this thing is having me live through. You're being revolutionary because that idea that you just injected that's not happening yet will fruit it at some point. And it will just be commonplace later on. But the idea got to come first. When people were slaves, the idea of freedom had to come. Like the idea pool, like how you thinking, how you seeing it. You could be swimming around in slavedom, as like, oh, it is what it is. That's just what it is. We just got, yeah, you got to live in the now and be rooted in the plane on the earth, but you can also be thought wise beyond that to an ideal that you are trying to ascribe to that will out vibrate this little low vibrating frequency, low level frequency that we have living through with the people who designed this low level frequency. We got higher frequencies that we can exist on, that we can make that come into existence. So the music that we had in the 90s and R&B and hip hop was a high frequency version of hip hop. And it made high
Mm-hmm.
people. So now the movers and the shakers are made from that substance. And we still have that neutron star within us burning brightly because that's what we made out of until we go out. Hopefully, some of the light will create an effect on the people coming up and it will be contagious and light that star. So before we become a red dwarf and get big and die, then we will give birth to a new star that is made out of the same, inculcation that we experience. And that's what it's all about. What's your material made of? What's your ilk? And if you connect it to a long line of ancestors and your point of departure comes before the narrative of slavery in your mind, you understand what you actually are before that little pit stop in the trajectory of blackness, then you already know what you are tied to and what your
Why
ancestors
you
are.
preaching now?
It's what you are.
Yeah.
We're already immortal. You know what I mean?
Wow.
That's just what it is. And I'm glad I was part of the pantheon of people who will be looked at, as a memory in mass for people's coming of age stories, their first romance, or people who are aspiring to be artists and want to sing "If I Ever" as part of their talent. Like I'm glad to be that I got picked, through the universe and through the ancestors to kind of model whatever that is to them. I'm thankful for that. And so that'll live forever. You know what I mean?
Do you have any favorite Black history books that you read?
Man, I read so much stuff, man. Like you won't even believe. Like I can't even express to you books every like
Yeah.
because I went to the October program. So
I
when
think it's hard I think that's a hard question. What is your
I've
favorite
digested
Black history books?
hundreds and hundreds of books. I've digested hundreds of impactful books, thousands even, that made a difference. But you got so many. I can just be cliche and name some, but I would just say all of them had a little jewel in them that shaped my thought process. I mean, it's just so many. You just go out there and just look up. It's so many. I can't defer to one or two that are more important than other ones and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
All of them. But I will say that I won't even. It's just so many, and then people are sources. People are resources. The old auntie, the old grandma who experiential knowledge that you could just tap into and sit there and at her feet and listen to her narratives, and that's a book. That's a text. That's if you transcribe that, that's text. You know what I mean? So people's lived experiences teach you a whole lot too. Probably
Mm-hmm.
more than some of the formalized textbooks, the people who are posing as sources of authority. But the lived experiences, some of the old slave narratives, if you can get a hold to them in the National Archives, like so many different things influence where I am mentally in terms of how I see the world. It's just too many to name, like the Chancellor Williamses and people like that, and those are dope too. Like, but there's so much more that I'm not going to be narrowed to do Black history books. Like it's just so many books have nuggets about Black history within them that have been hidden from us that ain't even Black history books. That you happen to read and be like, hold up, you'll find a corollary with somebody who says something like that must be when that happened, and you put your two and two together. So it's stuff like that too. And that's the researcher in me. But it's just too many to name. I
Too many, yeah.
ask me what my favorite album of all time is or something like that. Like what my favorite singer is. It's just whatever mode I'm in, is gonna be somebody that can like satiate that. That's incredible. And it is, as long as we Black, it's gonna be multiple versions of usness that can fill those slots for sure. You know what I mean? Just like so I can't do it. It's just too vast. But for those people out there, make sure that you get your hands on some kind of textual information and pour through it and read
Mm-hmm.
and look at it. Even stuff that ain't even Black books, like Orwell's 1984 and Fahrenheit, 411, like what is it? What is it? Fahrenheit. What's the numbers on Fahrenheit? I always mess that up. But Fahrenheit 451, I think it is. Read those kinds of the Orwellian kind of themes because right now we're living through a lot of that stuff. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Those kinds of things feed your soul too. Like because you can see what's happening in real time on the landscape. But even
Okay.
some of the dystopian Black futuristic kind of fiction work has stuff in it, that you can kind of ponder and it makes you think. It makes you like all that's food. You know what I mean? All that's food that you're taking in that's going to create new ideas, maybe songs. Inner Visions by Stevie Wonder. Make you think and ponder. All this stuff has brilliant experiential knowledge that has come through their bodies, through their synaptical situations, and through their hand, through their pen, through their vocals, and are there for you to take in. So look outside of traditional spaces as well. Go to a foreign country. Look at different musical chords as a philosophy. Why do they pick these notes instead of the other notes? What is that doing to the soul?
Mm-hmm.
What's our resonance? How come we in tune with the Schumann resonance? I think 7.98 hertz. Like what's the mystery behind 1.618, which is phi? Why is that within everything? What's the golden ratio? Why is that figure prominently even in our own bodies? Like, what is that? What's happening with that? What is that? What are we? What is this? Like, that's also important to be kind of wrapping your head around. Don't just stop at the and romanticize like the textual knowledge of like the historical aspects of blackness, but the soul quality has produced a lens that you can see certain things in nature. Look at nature, how plants grow staggered, and they all got equal access to the sun, and see how that's actually justice in living form in your face. And look at the systems that we've created in our life and see how that's not that. Like look at it's all around us. Textual information is all around us if we but had our eyes open to it and stuff like that. So pay attention to synchronicities. When you saying something to your homie and the same word come on the TV, like why is that? Why did that just happen? It's all wave and frequency. Are we all electrochemical beings, and are we all on the same channel? Like what's really happening? Like pay attention to those kinds of things. Like look at your higher self talking to you. Pay attention to that voice. All of that stuff matters more equally, if not more, than the books that you might read. But you got to develop your intuition and stuff too, your inner self.
Wow. Two
Mhm.
questions I want to ask you, and then if you don't mind, can you sing a song for us after I finish
Oh,
these two questions?
I'm not
Yeah.
gonna do the whole song sitting here, man. But
Uh,
I've been, I've been singing, like in studio. Maybe somewhere paradise is real, waiting for me to see when time reveals clear skies and good times. Forever music plays. That's what I long for. I dream of better days. Something like that. I don't know. I just made that up.
okay. So who
Yeah.
will you? Okay, okay, okay. You still got the voice. Who will you say that gives you some of the best business advice?
Business advice. You just look at people who are successful and see how they
Mm-hmm.
did it. That's the best advice. Like their actions. It ain't really like what somebody tell you to do, but like you look at what somebody that you think is successful, what they did to get to that point. And from the little kid that created inventions that marketed it so well and became rich on YouTube, or to somebody that made an app that did something crazy, or to somebody that's running a corporate entity. You know, there's some jewels and nuggets to be said for all of that.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like I don't look at like people read Grow Rich and whatever those books and all, those are cool too. If you get nuggets out of that. But people who are actually got businesses that are successful, and you can see the care that they take for different details. You can look at that and see what's important, and learn the inside of the industry, the business that they're dealing with. That's the advice. Like look at somebody's actual how to. Look at the action based aspects of it, and then they might have a couple of nuggets for you, habits of mind. Check that out too. But it really comes down to like seeing what works and trying to model that. With anything, you want to see what model kind of like works, and then outside of that, what model works for you within that. Like some of that stuff that they got to do to make that work might not be your style of thing to make it work. Oh, that's too much for me. But that one, I like how they did that version of it, and it works. I'll try to do that. Like that's what you got to do. So I don't.
Okay.
Business is a subjective kind of like piece. It's not a rote, homogenous approach. It's different habits of mind. Like you got to have follow through. You got to be diligent. You got to have patience. Those types of universal things are there for sure. You know what I mean? Good instincts and stuff. But how does that look? That's the part. And so that's when you look at people who have done certain things that you want to do. and see how they did it. And then you could pick their brain maybe. Yo, when you put here, how did you get from this point to do that? And they'd be like, you know what? I had a big problem with that for a while, man. And then I finally did the do like that's how you do it. You know what I mean? But yeah.
Okay. So what is the name of the resources everybody can find you at?
Oh, well, Instagram, the Garfield Bright Experience. Same with Facebook. Shy, we have a Shy page, Shy 90s official. And the 90s is like the number 90 with the little S, Shy 90s official.
Okay.
And that's it, shoot.
Okay. So
Uh,
any news about Shy? I mean, you guys have any
we
tour
always doing
dates,
shows.
concerts? Okay.
Yeah, we got a lot of shows in the works coming up. But just go to those pages, especially the Shy page, Shy 90s official. We'll have our show that we're about to do. There's usually a flyer that's in a drop that we've done that we got average. Like we get ready to go back to Germany again. We're supposed to be going to Aruba soon.
Ooh, Germany. Okay.
I just booked a show in Shreveport, Tacoma, Washington, coming up soon. Like there's shows coming, and even more coming. We might be in Florida at some point coming up soon. So, but you'll stay tuned to the shop page and you'll see like within 30 days, you'll start seeing stuff proliferate our page that shows you where we're getting ready to be and stuff like that. And my page too, I'll post something in my stories or something like that. But
Yeah,
me,
and I will. Do that.
but I'm working on new music as we speak, just by myself
New
too.
music. Okay.
And I'm trying to, I'm getting some stuff together. I got so much music that I've made. Now I'm splitting them up into EPs, and I'm going to release a few EPs with maybe like 4 to 5 songs coming up, within the next month or so. I'll start releasing EPs just out there. They'll be on the streaming platforms, and so check them out. There's some cool stuff. I've been plugging away at it for a long time, and I finally got about 70 joints, and I'm just break them all down into similar kind of songs, sounds, or rather not like the clone of each other, but like a song, complementary songs, whatever. Different phases of my artistry, certain songs complement better, and that kind of thing, and put it out. You can check it out. It's coming soon for sure.
Okay. And I'm always here to support. Always. If I see you guys before me, um, I'm just gonna Los Angeles or anywhere. I'm gonna share it to the public eye. I'm gonna share
Word
it.
up, I appreciate it.
I'm gonna share on my social media, and sometimes I do talk about upcoming R&B concerts on my show, and you guys' name will be mentioned when you guys perform.
No
Yeah,
doubt. Well, I appreciate the
I
love.
love to support.
I appreciate all of
Yeah.
you.
And I was honored to have you on here, and thank you for the words of wisdom. Oh
No,
my
I'm just being
gosh.
me, man. Thank you for
Yeah.
having me on your platform. I hope you do.
Yeah, I learned a lot from you. I learned a lot from you.
You,
Yeah.
money. Thank you. I learned a lot from you too. You know what I mean?
Well, thank you.
Always a
Thank you.
transaction when people talk. I get something, you get something. So
Yeah, and I love to announce tour dates on my YouTube podcast channel, and I can't wait to announce you guys tour dates too.
word up. Well, I like to thank all the people that tuned in too. I'm seeing a couple of people. Philip Batty. Is that Battle? Or Philip Battle Jr. Alexandria Johnson. Um, my eyes are bad. Balika, I think, and Abdul Rahman Muhammad
Okay.
here, and maybe some more. My stream, I probably got to scroll up, but I'm challenging some of this technology. I be done.
It's Lisa Banks, Carmilla
Oh,
Banks,
there I see it now.
Andre Griffin, Diamond
Missy Goins,
Russell, Michael.
Christina,
Okay.
Michael McDonald,
Wait a minute.
Draymond Russell, Andre Griffin, Lisa Banks,
Philip Battle.
Cornelia. Oh,
He went to Howard too. Yeah,
Abdul
Muhammad.
Rahman.
Yeah.
I knew a couple of dudes named Abdul Rahman, but I don't know which
Yeah, the
one.
one. Yeah, he's the one who did the doctor. He did Malcolm X documentary on
Oh,
Netflix.
word? Okay. That might not be the same.
Yeah, he went to Howard. You should. Yeah, y'all should link up. Y'all went to Howard.
Look,
Yeah.
H is in the building. I love being a vice
Yeah,
rep.
family time.
Glad we could. So, but yeah, and everybody else that I missed, Lisa Banks, all of them. So big ups. Appreciate y'all. Word.
Yeah. Well, let's keep in touch. Oh my God, master teacher.
This G, man.
Yeah, you should. Yeah. I mean, you a genius when it
Oh,
comes to
man.
education. I mean, you are a genius. I was like, oh my gosh, you need to be Yeah, I could see you being a professor teaching the college students at Howard. Yeah,
Mm,
yeah.
mm.
I have to invite you in Lima, Ohio because every
Oh, Lima.
year,
Yo, I used to go to Kings Island when I was a little
yeah, like
kid. When I was a little kid, I used to go to Kings Island all the
oh my goodness,
time.
Cincinnati, that was one of our favorite places. Me and my sisters,
Yo,
we love
that was my
Kings
first amusement
Island.
park,
Yeah,
man. Are you kidding me?
yeah. Every
Every year,
year, my councilman Derry Glenn,
every year.
he has a Martin Luther King program and John Lewis program, and I'm gonna put you on the
Yo,
list.
I love
You need to
Kings
be one of the
Island. That was
guest
my
speakers.
favorite. You don't understand what
Kings Island.
that was. My
Okay,
as a
okay.
kid, that you could not look. Please, man.
So you love Kings
I love
Island.
Kings
Oh my
Island. Are you kidding
goodness.
me right now?
Yeah, that's the bet. I love. Oh yeah.
That's memories for me.
Yeah, but I forgot to tell you is every year my councilman, his name is Derry Glenn,
Wow.
and every year he has a Martin Luther King program, a John Lewis program, and I am going to put you on the list.
Okay.
Everybody needs to hear your story.
Okay. So I keep
Yes, you are. Yeah, everybody needs to hear your story. Yeah, and he went to yeah, he went to
Oh, where do you
HBCU.
go?
So oh yeah,
Which one?
Central
Oh,
State.
that's
Yep,
that's
Central State.
original joint right there.
Yeah, Howard is too
Well, Howard is
now. Howard is
definitely,
on that
but
list.
Central State was one of the original, you know,
Yeah, but I want you to. Yeah, I'm gonna put you on the list. I'm gonna mention your
I think that's the
name
Alpha
this
chapter
week.
for
I'm
the
on.
Alpha Phi Alpha fraternity is Central State, I believe. If I'm not
Mm-hmm.
because the Beta chapter,
Yeah.
Howard is Beta,
Yep.
but Central is like very like historically profound for Black colleges. Like the
Mm-hmm.
one of the I think that may be the
Yeah.
first
Yeah.
HBCU. But yeah, that's
Mm-hmm.
cool.
But I would love if you come to those programs, the Martin Luther King program or John Lewis, because everybody will enjoy you
Oh,
speaking.
I would love to.
Yeah, I enjoy it.
I used to
Oh yeah, I keep you in
I used to
touch.
politic, I was
Yeah.
all the time, like in the Alabama scene, and when I was at Georgia State, he would always come. We would always deal with him in Atlanta. He would come through, and
Who's to come?
John Lewis, Congressman Lewis.
John Lewis.
Yeah,
Okay. Okay.
yeah. So he was definitely somebody who had a special love for different things I've been involved with all through my life. He's a good guy,
Okay.
good man.
All right. Well, thank you for coming on the Imani Dillard show. Thank you. Thank you. Make sure you guys follow him on every social media and make sure you guys watch his videos on Instagram, YouTube. You can learn a lot from Garfield, right?
Garfield. You never heard of Garfield the cat?
Garfield. Okay. Garfield.
Gar, Gar. Then Field.
Garfield. Okay. I was so honored to have you on
Thank you,
here.
love.
Yes.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Yeah, and keep me in touch when you guys perform again so I can announce them on my show.
Okay, for sure. I will.
All right. Have a good night. Have a good
All right.
weekend.